So we're going to factor things by grouping. When we look at a problem, and there is a number in front of x squared, it's not just 1. We look and say, okay, is there anything I can take out? Well, you have 4, 12, 5. There's nothing in common. Okay? So I can't take anything out of it. That means that I know in my answer down here, I got to have 2 sets of parentheses. How we're going to get there, we're going to do the same process every time. Because we're going to eliminate a few of the guessing parts of it by doing this. So, 4 times 5, 20. I want factors of 20 that add up to 12. This is what we've been doing, okay? Well, if we look at 20, we've got 1 and 10, 4 and 5, 2 and 10, 1 and 20, sorry, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. We want 2 times 10 because 2 plus 10 equals 12. This is an important part. Step number 3.
Right.
Rewrite. We're going to keep 4x squared. We're going to write 2x plus 10x plus 5.
So where do you do?
Because 2x plus 10x is 12x, right? So all we're doing is we're splitting 12. We can split it into 3 and 9, 2 and 10, 1 and 11. There's a bunch of choices. The reason we picked that choice is because we multiplied 4 and 5, and so we got factors of 20. Can't just be anything. Factors of the first and last number multiplied together. So now we want to factor by grouping. This is where you may want to get a little piece of notebook paper, something out to the side. So if I'm over here at the edge and I want to find out how to factor 4x squared plus 2x. This was the greatest common factor that we did. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to the edge somewhere and say, okay, 4x squared plus 2x. That group. What's the common factor of those 4x squared and 2x? X and? What number goes into 2 and 4? 2. So if I did 2 times 2 with 2 x's, 2 times 1 with 1x, what's my greatest common factor? Never mind. Okay, so the greatest common factor, just like we did on the other paper, is 2x. So right here I'm going to write 2x, and I had left 2x plus 1. This is what we did greatest common factor first. Okay? If you're not looking at me or your paper, you should be. Okay, so let me give you a little hint here. This one right here has to have the same thing in parentheses. We had 2x plus 1. This has to be the same thing. What's the largest number that goes into 2 and 5? What's the largest thing that goes into 2 and 5? 5. So I'm going to bring it out front. So my answer is, what's in parentheses? 2x plus 1. And the part that's not in parentheses, 2x plus 5. So when we go back and check, what's 2x times 2x? 4x squared. What's 2x times 5? What's 1 times 2x? Add those together, get 12. And 1 times 5 is 5. So when I go back and check it, I get my answer. Brought this back over. Okay, example number 2. What's 3 times negative 4? Negative 12, right? Okay, so tell me what multiplies to give me negative 12. 4 times negative 3, 2 times 6, 1 times 12. What are we trying to get in the middle? We're trying to get in the middle. 1. A 1. 1x, okay?
So I want this set. I know I have other choices, but this is the one I want because 4x plus negative 3x gives me that one. So once you know your factors, everybody rewrite it. 3x squared plus 4x plus negative 3x minus 4. Now look at your groups. 3x squared and 4x. Is there anything in common with 3 and 4?
No.
No. So the only thing that's in common is the x, right? So I'm going to take out an x. If I take 1 out of this one, I've got 3x left. I take x out of 4x, all I have left is 4. You don't see that? 3x squared and 4x. Come over here to the edge of your paper. Write off your factors. 3 with 2 x's, 4 with 1 x. Circle your common factors. X is in common, you're left with 3x plus 4. So, look at the second one. You have to have the same thing in parentheses. In the front. The only thing that's in common is 1 with 3x and 4. What's inside parentheses is one of your answers. One of your factors. What's not in parentheses is your other one. If we check it, it says check here, it's already written for you. 3x times x, 3x squared. 3x times negative 1, negative 3x. 4 times x, 4x. 4 times negative 1, negative 4. When you add your middle terms, you get back your 1x. Okay, so look at number 3. Nobody has this one written down, so you should be writing as we go. You need to go out to the edge, get your write it on your little paper, use your calculator. What's 6 times 15? 90. So we have 90. We want factors of 90 that add up to negative 19. So the only option we have really is 9 and 10, but we want a negative. So both of our factors need to be what? Negative. Plus, when we think back to like what we just got through doing, if only the middle term is negative, both things in parentheses, whatever those things are, they both have to be negative. Because negative times negative is positive. Negative plus negative gives us negative. Okay, so I have in the middle here negative 9x and negative 10x. And I'm going to rewrite the others on either end. Just doing the FOIL method backwards is what we're doing. Because this would be our middle step, and then we combine the middle terms. So we get our factors. We want to find what's a common factor between each group. This is where if you need to go off to the side somewhere on another piece of paper, right. Okay, I have 6x squared minus 9x. What's the largest number that goes into 6 and 9?
3.
3. So I have 3 times 2 with 2 x's. I have 3 times 3 with 1 x. So if I circle my common factors, what do we have that's in common? The 3 and the x. So 3x, I have 2x minus 3 left over. And this is going on the side over here. Some of you may need to write that, some of you may not. Then I'm going to look at my negative 10x plus 15. What's the largest number that goes into 10 and 15? 5. So I have 5 times 2 with 1x, 5 times 3 over here. So I'm going to circle by 5. Because that says minus right there, I'm going to take out minus 5.
Wait, on
So what do we have left? Should be the same thing we have right there.
What is the other thing? What are we? Can you switch the x to the 2? To 2x.
Mm-mm. So 5 times 2 will be our 10. 5 times 3 gives us our 15.
Why is it a negative 3?
Want to do the what?
Negative
What's negative times negative?
Oh.
Positive. So we have 2x minus 3 as one of our answers. 3x minus 5 is our other one. Like I mentioned before, this would be where if you were looking for your given area and you're looking for the size of a square or a rectangle, you would have to factor it to find your length and your width. If we have our length and width, we do the FOIL method backwards the other way, and we get our area. Those have to go together. This is where when we went into, we checked it in the calculator. You put this one in Y1, this one in Y2. It's going to graph on the same thing. They mean the same value. They're just in 2 different forms depending on what it is that you need. So if I went to check this, 2x times 3x works. 2 times negative 5, negative 3 times 3, negative 3 times negative 5. All my pieces are there.